go. All right, we're back.
Answers
Let's go to the manager.
Time. What will tell you early on in the ball game that curveball has that bite to it?
Yeah, it'll be pretty clear to me at his comfort level early in the strike zone throwing strikes. So not having to make a perfect breaking ball 0-0 or 1-0 or 0-1, but being pretty liberal in the strike zone. That's when I know he feels like he has the combination of the early strike curveball and then the put away late in the count where he can dial it up a little bit and get some awkward swings and misses below the zone or outside the zone. So for him, when he gets going and he gets his rhythm and his timing and things, and he's landing the breaking ball early in the count, he's feeling pretty good about it. When he feels pretty good about it, I feel pretty good about it.
Other questions for AJ? No, Ken, to your right.
AJ, how much do you play your catchers based on your own pitchers and their comfort with them versus the opposing pitcher?
You know, I don't subscribe to the personal catcher theory too much, but yet I do a lot of same things over and over again. So I sort of back myself away from, just in case I ever want to make a different decision. Last night, you know, Morton and Gaddis have always had a nice little rapport, but in Boston in the division series, I caught McCann with Morton. So, you know, if there was an extreme circumstance, obviously I would take a look at it. You want your pitcher to be the most comfortable guy in the field and being able to execute pitches. Sometimes offense in the platoon type stuff pays attention to it. But, you know, generally speaking, my preference is to have a starting catcher and a backup catcher have the backup opportunities to be very obvious and be comfortable across the board. Because it's the one position that's not easily replaceable. There's a lot of foul tips. There's balls in the dirt. There's concussions. There's reasons why catchers get knocked out of games, and you need your pitchers to be able to throw to any catcher.
To your right, AJ. Robert.
The good pitching you face notwithstanding, what are you seeing from your offense as a whole?
Can I not talk about the good pitching? Because that's really what it's all about. You know, I think for us, we're an explosive offense that is one click away from having that 10, 12, 14, 18 hit attack. And it is hard this league when you run into good pitching, and especially as precise as the advanced scouting gets during the postseason. You know, these teams don't get here by accident. They know what they're doing. They know how to try to expose your aggressiveness, and that's what I see so far for us is they're making pitches, and you know, for us to swing just on the margins just enough. Sabathia really good at throwing that high fastball that's just enticing enough to swing at, you know, and then the breaking ball below the zone. And there's some anxiousness to our at-bats that it is a touch uncommon, but I don't think it's really about us. I think it's about this high-end pitching that we're facing. Their starters have gotten into the games a lot more comfortably than pitchers that have faced us in the past. And then, you know, the bullpen's paid to come in and throw 95 to 100 and get outs. But again, one click away, one big base hit away, and the storyline's going to be a little bit different. And if we get that big hit, which can come from anybody in our lineup, 1 through 9, I think you'll see some numbers start to pop up.
Other questions for AJ? Mark to your right, and then this Mark on the left.
AJ, I know you've heard every question there's in the book about Altuve. Yesterday, Reggie Jackson said he believes he's the best player in baseball. If he were 6 feet tall, there'd be no debate. Some thoughts about that?
Well, I don't really care how tall he is. It's his ability that speaks for itself. I mean, he's the most consistent player in the league. So, in a league that has elite performers everywhere, I mean, you go to any team, they're going to have somebody that stands out, somebody that's exceptional, somebody that has, is their favorite player, so to speak. But, you know, a compliment from Reggie goes a long way to Jose. So I think that that goes without saying. But, you know, 5'6", 6'6", 100 pounds, 200 pounds, 300 pounds. It's more about what he does, not about the package it comes from.
To your left, AJ. Mark.
AJ, you were a catcher. Girardi was a catcher. Joe Madden was a catcher. What is it about that job that kind of prepares somebody to want to do this?
Well, we have a lot of catcher bias in us, but I think for us, we deal with every part of the game. I think the catchers are exposed to the pitching staffs. One of the most difficult parts of this job is really handling your pitching staff, whether it's the psyche or the usage or being able to relate to them. This job has turned into a how well can you relate to your players type job. How do you extract the most performance out of them? The one position on the field that as a teammate or as a player that you've had to deal with 24 other players the entire season is the catcher. So It's a leadership position. I think we call pitches, we run the field, everybody's looking at us. So naturally it evolves into comfortable in our own skin, whether it's running a game or running a team.
To your right, AJ. Billy?
With McCullers, what sort of pitch count might you expect from him today?
What was Verlander's? 140? Yeah, somewhere around there. We'll be fine. That whole pitch count thing, that's very analytical. We're a non-analytical organization, so we'll go with how long he can go.
But I mean, I asked that because he hasn't started a whole lot in the last second half of the season. I mean, are there any concerns about stamina and also relying on a curveball so heavily? That seems to be like it's a feel pitch.
Yeah, well, he's got a power curveball, but I think as long as he's getting outs and feeling comfortable, I mean, obviously the game shortens as it goes, and starting the back end with Ken Giles. I've got a really rested Brad Peacock. I've got Chris Stavinsky, who hasn't pitched in a couple days. Joe Musgrove hasn't made an appearance in this series. So we have some high end pitching waiting when and if it's needed. So, but I don't think it's fair to your players to walk in and say, "Hey, Lance, you have X amount of pitches. You have as many pitches as it takes to get as many outs as you can and give us a chance to win." That. In my mind, of course, I know exactly kind of where I see that. But I didn't go into Verlander's start thinking he was going to throw that many. I didn't go into Keuchel's start thinking he was going to throw that many. I didn't shorten Charlie last night because of any sort of pitch count. This is a series about a time of year where you get outs. You get outs, you get to continue to have the ball until we think that there's a better matchup available later in the game.
Other questions for AJ? Nothing else? All right, AJ, thanks so much.
As AJ Hinch is promoting his player about Altuve, one thing to remember, though, Altuve's got a career OPS of 816. Trout's got a career OPS of 980. A little different.